Okay, so sorry, apologies, I've jumped one too many. So first of all, a little bit about the programme. Obviously, we are in unprecedented times at the moment. It is a real difficult situation to be in. That I don't think any of us have probably accessed this kind of issue before. So what we have done is we've looked at trying to address and see how we can help support schools and young people and any other kind of providers during this period of time. So what we have done is we have produced a programme which is called the I Am programme, and the idea of this programme is that it can be delivered either through home learning or in school, and the idea of it is to build confidence and resilience in students so that they can really cope and work with this. So moving to the next slide. We have looked at, lots of research around the impact of this virus on young people. Beano Studios have an online page of over 20,000 people, and they have polled people regularly throughout the crisis. And initially, there was a bit of a feeling of excitement with students as schools were closed, but then this changed quite rapidly to a bit of a feeling of helplessness from the students. And, there is this increase in worry and anxiety. It's one of the biggest emotions that they're feeling. There's a 44% increase in young people of this worry. So that's a real issue. And I think the big thing is this feeling that they feel that they are completely out of control, that they have no say in this. And, that's coming up with increasing levels of boredom, a lack of control, a lack of feeling that they have any influence. And this really can have a big impact on mental health of young people. So we've always, at SLQ been used to that youth voice and building support for young people. So that's why we have come forward with this programme. Apologies, I think my slides were not showing the full thing. So in terms of the research, etc., that's been done, when the full effect of the virus was clear, we decided to have a little bit of a look at what kind of research was out there and thinking about what was going on. Now, a lot of the things that have been going on have been looked at through research that was done at Harvard University. We know...
Hi Maria, sorry, it's Lucy.
Oh, hi.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. You're back now. Do you want to pick up from here?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that, everybody.
It's okay, no worries.
Technical issues happening here, and thanks,
so we're
Maria,
at slide 3.
That's great, thank you very much. So Maria would have taken you through the point of I Am, and what the youth voice was, and the worry that is rising within young people. In particular, we've been looking at the works at Beano Studios, as Maria would have mentioned, and moving forward, we also wanted to look at other research that was out there, the more academic research. Unfortunately, I suppose fortunately within the UK, interruption to learning mainly happens over the summer period, the 6-week period. So research in the UK on interruption to learning tends to look at the summer learning loss. Research shows detrimental effects over the 6-week period on mental health, especially regarding returning to school, with 50% of young people not actually wanting to go back to school following the 6-week period. This is obviously a massive concern for us, as this could be a period that's much longer than that they're interrupted their learning from. Elsewhere, if we go further afield for this, research from Harvard following disasters that cause interruptions. So they looked into, in particular, natural disasters such as Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Katrina. They actually found that anything that has over 3 weeks of interruption to education, which young people are used to, is likely to cause toxic stress. This is a heightened state of anxiety and worry that can lead to detrimental effects in a young person for up to 5 years after disaster. This is something that we were obviously very concerned about, and we wanted to know how can we actually start to make sure this doesn't happen, especially if this period of the young person not accessing school as they're used to does carry on for a prolonged period of time. So looking at the research further, and the research is available out there by Undefeated Learning, the research actually outlines that a resiliency education program, if you can implement that, it is quickly deployed, that it can actually help with maintaining mental health, and in particular it can look at building skills and giving purpose to the young people, which in turn will actually raise their resilience and will also give them confidence to go back into education and re-engage with it in the future. We feel at SLQ that obviously one of the things that we need to do from an intervention point of view is we need to implement a resilience education program, as this is critical to enabling young people to engage back into education and will hopefully support their mental well-being during this massive period of change. Next slide, please, Maria. So all in all, we're very conscious that in the future and the not too distant future, that there could be a huge mental wellbeing crisis for 14 to 18-year-olds. This affects roughly 3.6 million 14 to 18-year-olds during a critical stage of life, a critical stage of their development for a social and academic period. We believe that this could be likely for majority of those 14 to 18-year-olds, although it is being debated at the moment, could be 4 times longer than the usual summer holiday learning loss. The biggest issue is that this could actually be multiplied for children from poorer backgrounds. However, we do feel that actually giving purpose through becoming community builders will empower young people and help with mental resilience. So by giving them an actual challenge to overcome and get them to be a solution for the future, that will actually help with their mental resilience. We believe that young people need to be encouraged during the COVID-19 lockdown to adapt and re-socialise to the new normal the future will present to them. And so this is something that a resilience education programme could help with. We also believe that the schools, the education organisations, teachers and tutors are key influences for the young people and can facilitate home learning for all. So this is a programme that will be delivered through home learning. One thing we do actually believe is that immediate action is required to avoid a lost generation, and in particular a lost generation of from mental wellbeing. Next slide, please. One of the things we were very conscious of is that the curriculum interruption. We're very conscious that young people have been following the national curriculum and have been working towards exams, etc., and feel that they've lost this and lost 2 years of study. If we can create a curriculum programme that meets a curriculum need, curriculum interruption can be minimised if it actually meets curriculum requirements that are clear to the young person. So the programme was developed, the I Can, I Am programme. By linking it to curriculum, this will give a clear purpose for the young person and will show that they can achieve something during this adversity. The programme itself, I Can, I Am, it actually focuses on personal development of the young person, and we feel that this is a great opportunity to use the current adversity to stimulate character education. By building activities, the programme can be used to evidence several of the character education benchmarks as listed here. So for example, benchmark C, how well do your curriculum and teaching develop resilience and confidence? The programme will develop resilience and confidence through all of the activities. Benchmark E, how do we actually promote the value of volunteering service to others? As part of the programme, they will be asked to pledge how they will service others and actually carry out volunteering in the future to rebuild the community as we go forward out of this COVID-19 disaster. And finally, benchmark F, how do we ensure that all pupils can benefit equally from what we offer? We have developed the programme so that it can be offered from home learning, and that can be online or it could be from a printed copy. It also could be delivered within schools with the key workers and the vulnerable individuals that are in there. Next slide, please. That's it. So we have the I Can, I Am key output is actually for building mental resilience. But to actually get to that, there are 6 smaller outputs that will be created throughout the programme. So first of all, the programme will look to improve confidence of young people through building their character and linking it to the character education curriculum. The second thing is it's key to actually empower these 14 to 18-year-olds. A lot of feeling coming back from them is that they feel helpless, and so they want to be able to help themselves and their community. And by doing a program that encourages them to do this, this will give them a sense of purpose back. The third thing is giving them an opportunity to actually challenge their abilities and build new skills. And four, from this, they will actually then get a sense of achievement through an uncertain time. And as Maria will go on to say, it actually, the programme is 10 sessions, and they will have achievement at the end of each session. And if they complete them all, they will also become a community building award. Finally, the last two outputs are linked. So this is about creating a movement of young people to actually become community builders and looking forward for the future. So how can they actually help in their education organisations to build a community and build a sense of community for them to go back to, which should help them to re-engage in the future. We know that developing the personal skills of young people, it can actually provide a sense of achievement, support, mental well-being and re-socialisation into communities when this crisis is over. And that's one of the key outputs that we would like from the programme. Next slide, please, Maria. So the programme itself has been developed using a 4-pillar learning system. Pillar 1 is actually what you are on at the moment. So it's part of actually doing a webinar and then moving on to doing professional training for teachers for tutors as key influencers. So that is an online Moodle. It's an online system that you can do learning in, and it lasts roughly 60 to 90 minutes. Your teachers or your tutors are able to access that once you are signed up to the programme. Pillar 2 of this is the I Can Learn, learning personal skills. So this is about the young person now. The young person can learn personal skills to build mental resilience. They also have engagement in self-directed and therefore suited for home learning. So this has become learner-centric. It can be delivered, as said previously, in a school setting, and so it is versatile for delivery. Pillar 3 is about the young person looking at what they can build. So it's called I Can Build. So it's about making a decision on positive actions they can make to rebuild the community. So what could they do in the future? It's also about making a pledge about positive future actions. And finally, for the learner themselves, is Pillar 4, I Can Thrive. This is a key area, and it's actually about the young person reflecting on the development of their personal skills to give confidence for their future. This is supported by an accredited learning award, and by the end of it, they will be able to put that onto their CV, and that will actually mean that they will be able to be positive about the skills they've learned and how they can use them in the future. The key to all of this is that it's done by bite-sized activities that develop personal skills and actually empower the young people to make a difference in their communities. Next slide, please, Maria.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. So all of the programme, the 10 sessions are actually built around the 5 skills. We have a skills framework that has been developed by ourselves and Youth Employment UK. It's a national framework, and it is actually getting young people to recognise the skills that they'll require for the future to go into further employment or further education and training. As you can see here, this is accessible for everybody to use. It's available through our website. And what we aim to do is get all of our learning to work towards young people developing these skills to help them in the future. The framework very simply breaks it down to the 5 key skills that are required, and these have been recognised by employers, and that actually are defined. But key to this, and what is seen through the I Can, I Am learning programme, is that they need to demonstrate how they are building these skills and actually carry them out in activities. Everything about I Can, I Am has been built around this framework, as well as through the 3 learning pillars. Next slide, please. As mentioned, Pillar 1 was about teacher education and actually ensuring that they are comfortable with how to deliver a resilience programme. The CPD actually has 5 sections looking at the issues with the current situation. The 5 sections relate to research, best practice, and teachers or tutors' own experiences, to how they can actually best support the building of mental resilience and confidence. and in particular through a resilience education programme such as I Can, I Am. It's obviously available to every teacher in your organisation to log on. It is an online one. It takes roughly 60 to 90 minutes and will be available from the 1st of May. Next slide, please, Maria, and over to you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take you through a little bit more detail about the actual programme. So we're going to look at a bit of a programme overview. A couple of things that aren't on the slide here is that the programme does have an introduction session for learners. Then it has these 10 90-minute sessions that are shown on the slide, and then there is a review session. So those are all of the different particular sessions. Now, in terms of the framework that we looked at earlier, there are obviously those 5 personal skills. Now, what happens with each of those skills is that there are 2 sessions that are dedicated to those different developments, and you can see indicated by the colour the matching skills that link to those particular skills. So the way that it works is that the students develop a skill, they complete the session, and then they can gain a behaviour badge as they have completed that session. And then when they have completed all of the 10 sessions, the young person will then achieve a Community Builder Award, which is, as Lucy mentioned earlier, an accredited learning award. Then there is an additional thing where they can do a further 10 hours of community building, and for that the students will then receive a recognition award of having been involved in that community building. And we think that's something really positive that the students can take forward to sort of then be part of the rebuilding of their communities. So the content of each session is themed around the current crisis and asks the students that are involved in it to go through those learning pillars of I can learn, I can build, and I can thrive, as we mentioned earlier. All of these sessions will be released from the 1st of May, and we're going to release them 2 sessions per week. So if you look at the programme overview here, we can see that in week 1, we will be releasing Staying Connected, which is about effective communication with others during the crisis, and Staying Motivated, which is planning your future by owning the present. And in week 2, we'll be releasing Thinking Differently, which is creative learning within a crisis, and Strength in Teams, which is overcoming isolations to work in as a team. Week 3 is focusing on raising resilience and building confidence, and that's staying strong and recovering from the COVID-19 crisis, celebrating your strengths through recognising your achievements. And week 4 is about respecting communities and supporting others, promoting positive behaviour in the community and standing together through times of crisis. Then week 5 is understanding others and positive actions, being aware of the needs of others and just around you during the crisis, and making your pledge to impact the future. Now, although these are released as on a weekly basis, there isn't a requirement that you have to do 2 a week. You can do them whenever you want. It's just in terms of when we will be releasing the different aspects of the course that you can access them. So let's have a look at a little bit more detail now about what those different challenges look like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by looking at challenge 1, which comes under the personal skills, the personal skill of communication. And under this, there was listed staying connected and understanding others. So I'm going to focus on the staying connected, looking at that actual challenge first of all. And when we were putting together and building the content, we looked at a series of steps. So we started by thinking about the crisis. What is the crisis? What is it that the young people were experiencing? And when we looked at this challenge, we said, right, well, the crisis is that young people are not able to communicate with their peers, teachers, family and friends in the usual manner. So that is a real issue for many of them. They've been used to being able to just chat with their friends, you know, nip round the corner to talk to somebody. Suddenly, they're having to think of very different ways of communicating. The next one that we looked at was the learning outcomes, and what were the knowledge, skills and behaviour that we wanted learners to develop. So within the Staying Connected challenge, we were looking at things like understanding the importance of using different communication media, because if you can no longer see someone face to face, what can you use? Then thinking about the communication needs of others, because it may be that for certain individuals, for example, if you're talking to your granny, she may not be able to use some of the technical stuff that young people are very confident and happy with. So you might want to give a little bit of support or find out which particular communication aspects work well for her. Also, being able to plan an activity that demonstrates and uses communication. So having that ability to be able to think through an activity, plan it, and really come across with that benefit of being able to use communication skills really well. And obviously, as part of that, it's about being able to communicate effectively with others. So then, in terms of the recovery, what are the signs of recovery when they've been involved in this challenge? So what we would hope to see is that young people would then be able to develop and adapt to new, different ways of communicating with others. And then the final one is the learner action. So this is what it is that the young person puts into action to achieve this through that community building. So in the communication challenge, the action that the student ends up doing is they are going to organise and deliver a social interaction with a group of peers or friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just look through at 5 challenges across different aspects. And when I'm looking at the next ones, I'm not going to go through every aspect. All that I'm going to do is focus on the crisis and the action for those, but all the information is on the slide for you. So let's have a look at the problem solving. Within problem solving, there are 2 aspects that we would normally look at. So that would be thinking differently and respecting communities. And the challenge that I'm going to look at is challenge 3, which is thinking differently. So in terms of the crisis, what is it that people are experiencing in terms of thinking differently? Well, to start with, they are not able, they are finding it difficult to learn from home because schools and teachers have different priorities to themselves, meaning that perhaps their learning might become stagnant, and it could result that everybody has a poor experience, both teachers and students. So what kind of action can be taken place in order to help to overcome all of this? So what we're asking as part of this challenge is that the learners design and test a new learning method and report back on its success. And the idea is that when they've used this and they've reported back on this, that perhaps when schools go back to normal, that they could start to also use this learning method. Okay, on to the next one, which is raising resilience. So this comes under self-belief, and under self-belief we have the 2 challenges of raising resilience and building confidence. So for self-belief, what is it that young people are experiencing here? So first of all, they are being left to fend for themselves in many ways because they haven't got the usual structured support networks. They've not got a timetable, they haven't got the teacher there that they can turn around and talk to and ask questions and get support from in that kind of way. So that actually makes students feel really a little bit uncertain about themselves and unsure. So in terms of the action that we want from students when they're involved in this challenge is we'd like them to plan, do and review a personal project or challenge that focuses on the need for resilience. So it's really looking at that whole aspect of resilience and thinking about how they can focus on that. So moving on to the next challenge. So the 2 challenges that come under teamwork are supporting others and strength in teams. And I'm going to look at supporting others first of all here. So in terms of the crisis, what is it that's being experienced? So young people feel that others do not understand their own personal experience. So therefore, they're even less likely to understand the experiences of others. It's really difficult if you're in a situation where it's never happened to you before to cope with it yourself. So how can you then cope and support people in other situations who are going through a similar thing? So the learner action that we're asking students to be focused on as part of this challenge is to develop a case study with 2 or more peers that shows what the impact of the crisis is on their own mental health, what kind of things they can do to overcome it, and then being able to share that with others so that others can do the same. So it's a real positive thing about thinking about, right, what's the impact of crisis on myself, on my mental health? How can that be overcome? And now, how can I help others to do the same? And the next one is the challenges that come into self-management are positive action and staying motivated. And we're going to focus on positive action challenge here. So in terms of the crisis, what it is that young people are experiencing is that they are seeing erosion of their community. They no longer feel like the community is there in the same way that it was before. So what is it that we can ask them to do that's going to make a difference and going to make them feel more positive? So the learner action as part of this challenge is to submit a pledge to their school and to us as an awarding body that states how they're going to use their skills and their behaviour for positive change in the future. So it's a real moving forward of saying that this is something that we are going to actually say we definitely will take part in, we will participate, and we can actually make a real positive change moving forward. So in terms of the learner journey, that was the challenges that we're setting for the students. So in terms of the learner journey, they will have a progression of a number of steps that they will go through. And each learner, regardless of their learning environment, whether they're at home, whether they're doing it via online, or there is a hard copy that they can download, or they may be in a school, you know, as they are from a vulnerable situation. So step one is setting the scene. It's about introducing it, just introducing the session, getting them to understand it. Then step two is they have the 10 challenges that I've just spoken about. And each challenge, when they have completed that challenge, they can achieve a behaviour, sort of a stamp of their behaviour. And when all of those challenges have been released, have been completed, then they will finally get a badge for each of those particular ones. Then step three is about thinking about the future review on their developed skills to help them forward in the future. So this program isn't just about the now, it's about how what they learn now can actually impact and really help them moving forward in the future when this crisis is over. And then step four, they can then achieve their Community Builder Award, which is recognised by a certificate which has been released by the tutor. So once the student has completed the challenges, the tutor says, right, that's released, and we'll give them the certificate. But then we don't stop there. We don't say, right, that's it. We say, actually, we want to move forward with this further. So we've got step 5, which is about the students making a pledge of a positive action for the community. And the idea of this is that they will complete 10 hours of volunteering to help build their community. That might be something like doing transition with year 6 and moving into year 7 and some kind of buddy system, or anything else that they think is going to really impact and help with that community. And once they have done that additional 10 hours of volunteering, they will receive a recognition award for that. So what we've got here, sorry, I've jumped one slide too quickly, hit there. So what we've got next here is some examples of what the learning resources look like. So the idea is that these are resources that the student can just work through on their own. It's not going to require a lot of teacher intervention in order to do this. So this is some of the pages that we have here. So we've got the opening page where they're putting in their details, etc. There's a little bit about a reflection before they start the challenge. So they think about that. There's a little bit of an introduction at setting the scene, explaining what they need to do in order to complete the challenge, and then taking them through step by step as they're going through the different sections. Then there are different activities that they take part. They complete those online and go through. And as they're going through, there are different reflection points that happen as they're going through, so that it's about this ongoing learning and thinking about it. They're doing these step-by-step activities, they're learning skills, and then they're starting to implement them skills. So a little bit more about what's included in the programme. So as part of the programme, you receive the digital session workbook and a printable version for those students that are harder to reach who may have issues working on the digital system. You will receive a CPD for tutors that Lucy's already mentioned earlier. You will get those student badges as they achieve each of those 10 different challenges. They will receive recognition for that, and they will receive a certificate to say that they have achieved the full programme. And then if they go on and take the challenge, the 10 hours of community building, they will also get something to recognise that they have done that. And there will be some delivery guidelines for tutors. So we are offering this at a support price. So we're doing this at a rate that is really to help support you and doesn't really particularly cover anything beyond. We're not really profiting out of this. It's purely and simply about covering our costs in terms of this, because we really want to provide support for you in this difficult time and make sure that learners are engaged and have something that's going to be meaningful for them. So the support price is $499 if you are offering the I Can I Am programme. Moving beyond COVID-19, once we are back in the schools, we also already have in place something called the Personal Skills Programme. It was piloted this year, and we're launching it for delivery to all schools from September. And this is a whole school programme that looks at providing resources and support to help pupils develop their personal skills. And we know that when students return to school after the crisis, it's going to be quite difficult for the students, and the development of their personal skills is going to be more important than ever to help them cope and to settle into that idea of a normal routine. So we think actually this would be really important to them as well. So the idea of the Personal Skills Programme is it works across those 5 skills in this framework that you saw earlier on in the slides. And the aim is to develop those particular skills: communication, teamwork, self-belief, problem solving and self-management, to help students progress in developing character and building resilience to challenges. Now, this programme is available for Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. And we have a series of awards that fit within a number of themes. So we have 3 themes. We have the transition theme, the active citizenship, and the progression theme, and then a number of awards that sit within each of those themes. So within the transition theme, we have what we call the Pioneer Award, and that would normally be aimed at Year 7. And the idea of that is it's looking at the transition from Year 6 through into Year 7. And we know particularly this September, those students who are coming through from Year 6 are really going to have a difficult time, because not only will they have the worry and concerns about having moved from Year 6 into Year 7, they've also had that long period of time in Year 6 where they haven't actually been in school. So it's really going to be an important aspect to focus on for those students. Then in the active citizenship theme, we have the Ambassador Award and the Community Influencer Award. These awards are really nice awards that are about looking at the wider community and how students can have an impact on that community. They usually would be covered in Year 8 and Year 9, but although we have sort of suggested year groups, they don't have to be delivered to those particular year groups. Then moving into the progression theme, we have the Skills Pathfinder Award and the Skills Reflection Award. The Skills Pathfinder Award is an award that's really looking at the future and the career pathway for students. So it's them thinking about what kind of skills they need other than just academic skills for the career that they have decided that they want to go forward with. Or if they haven't got any idea about what kind of career pathway they want to take, it's looking at what skills they have and trying to match those to particular jobs so that they can start to see where they might fit in well in terms of a future career. The Skills Reflection Award, I think, is a lovely award. That is an award which would normally be taken in Year 11 because it's about looking back on the whole school career, about what skills they've learned, what they've developed, and how that is going to impact on what they can take from that moving forward into either further education or employment or apprenticeship, etc. The programme's really flexible. It can be delivered as the entire programme, so you could do all 5 awards across all of the years, or you could do just individual courses. So some of the people who have been doing the piloting have just done the transition theme. One of the schools has just done the active citizenship theme. But you could, if you wanted, do all 5, or you could do 2 or 3. It's entirely up to you. What's going to work for your school is what we would expect you to do. So the idea is that through doing these awards, they're building the skills, they're demonstrating the required behaviours, and they're building up a really effective portfolio of their abilities, giving evidence of their progression whilst they're developing character and personal skills. They have an evidence passport that they complete as they're going through that award, and each award requires 10 hours in order to deliver it. It doesn't have to be delivered in 10-hour chunks. It can be as flexible as you want. And talking about that, I'm going to move on to the next slide, because these are some of the suggestions of delivery models. So the idea of the delivery models is that there is basically any model that suits you will work, and it may well be that there's a delivery model here that I hadn't thought about. You can do a combination of the different ones here. What I would say in terms of the pioneer schools who are piloting this award with us, they have tended to do a combination. Many of them start off with a drop-down day in order to get students engaged with the programme, and then do a combination of things like tutor time, or in things like PSHE lessons or citizenship lessons. Or we had one of our pilot schools who are just taking 1-hour lessons and doing them through their citizenship programme that they have in place. So whatever model suits you is entirely up to you. So what's included as part of that programme? So there will be feedback from all of the pioneer centres who have been delivering the course and who are continuing to deliver the course. So we will have case studies, etc. from them. And the other thing I'm hoping to do later on in the autumn term is to have a webinar with those pioneer schools so that you can talk to them and find out how it's gone for them. You will get certificates for the students after they have completed the course. You will get guidelines and session plans for the staff delivering the course. You will also get student-facing session plans, which will be done in bite-sized chunks so that you can just project them onto the board and use them. And you will also get some support to help if you want to write an impact report so that you can share that with parents, governors, etc., to say what kind of impact this has had. And there will be an evidence passport that the students will complete, where they sort of log their thoughts and feelings as they're going through and give evidence about how they've achieved the particular skills. So in terms of the delivery offer that we are doing in terms of this, what we are doing is giving a support package which is for I Can I Am during the lockdown, and the PSP, which is from September 2020 for a 1 year until the end of the summer in 2021. And for that we are giving a support price of £1,799, which means that you are getting all of the materials and support for the I Can I Am, and all of the materials and support and certification for the personal skills programme. So we're hoping that that becomes a really nice follow through, so that rather than just doing the I Can I Am and feeling like they've got over it and then they've got to forget about the crisis and forget about those skills, that they really understand that actually those skills are important, and developing those skills throughout the rest of their school career is really important and key, and can have a real impact on how they are. So in terms of next steps, if any of you do have any questions on today's training, we'll respond immediately. What we're going to do in a moment is have a look at those questions and answer them aloud so that everybody can hear the response to them. If any of you after the session today think, I really like the look of this, I'd like to sign up straight away, you can do if you just click on the link that's on the slides here. And that link was also shared in the chat box at the beginning of the session, so you can see the link if you're unable to access the link on the slide for any reason. So please do go on there, and you can sign up for either just delivering the I Can I Am or the combined I Can I Am and personal skills programme. If you are in a situation where perhaps you're in a trust or something like that, where you've got multiple sites and you want to work as a group, please do contact us separately to discuss that with us. And please do feel free to directly email myself to ask any questions that you have. I'm quite happy to respond to you or to talk to you further on the phone if required. So that's it from me in terms of that. So what we're going to do now is open up the floor for anybody that's got any questions. So let's just have a look in the questions thing if there's anything coming through. Oh, I'm just going to begin it, sorry. Right, somebody's asking here, and it's Magnus is saying, can this programme be used for 11 to 13-year-olds? And if not, is there anything available for this cohort? Is there a specific reason for why this is pitched at 14 to 18? Lucy, do you want to take up that one?
Yeah, no problem at all. You can hear me, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay, great. Yes, so it's pitched at 14 to 18-year-olds. Due to the timescales, we had to pitch it at one of the age groups, and the 14 to 18-year-olds, from all the polls that were coming back, it was a feeling that they were the hardest hit with the exam results and everything else that were being ripped away from them at that point in time. Obviously, it's completely professional judgment, as with any of our awards and qualifications. The age is it's actually an indication, it's a guidance for the centre and for the tutor, and we expect you to take your professional judgment that if you think a 12, 13-year-old could cope with it. Obviously, we can send you some sample information if you want to have a look at what content there actually is, and you might be able to find that that is actually suitable for your young people. Obviously, in the future, we will be looking at the PFP does go down to age 11. So we will be looking at making sure that that ties in with this moving forward. It's just been how quickly we've had to actually develop all of this. We haven't been able to cover the whole age range, but hope that it is generic enough at times that it could be used across other ages as well as the 14 to 18-year-olds.
Thanks, Lucy. And Kirsten, I think that answers the question that you had in there. So just on to the next question here. Are the digital resources completed through a website, or would we need to upload these, for example, show my homework? Is the tutor who then checks what they have done? How do students submit the work, etc.?
Do you want me to answer that, Maria?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Okay. So they are on their. It's not a website, it's a PDF. The reason that we've actually done these as PDFs is that you can download them onto your portal that you use for your school if you do have Share My Homework or any other softwares like that. So they will be able to actually click onto them and do them while they are online, and they can download them if they so choose to. But we also are providing for the schools a printable version of it. We're very conscious that it's not always the easiest to print PDFs that have got lots of colouring, etc. We're also very conscious that accessibility to computers to young people from more disadvantaged areas actually will struggle to access online. So we're trying to give as many options as possible for that. I think that answered the question, Maria. Was there anything else on there?
Yeah, that's great. Lucy. Then the next question we've got is the I Can I Am for unlimited numbers in our centre? Yes, absolutely, Kirsty. However many students that you want to access it, you're getting that through, and it's up to you how many students you work with that. Then the next question is, how much assessment time is required for the I Can I Am in terms of the tutor?
That's the part that I probably didn't answer. Sorry, that was the first question. I didn't answer that part as well. This is very much about self-directed learning, the young person completing the challenges. There are areas in it that you can look at and can sign off to say it's completed, but really it's about the very end is the reflection on the skills and the skills building and the demonstration. So time-wise, this is every week a possible 15-20 minutes to check how they're doing, and actually it's more about facilitating the young person and making sure that they're confident enough to get through the challenge more than assessment, as it's not a qualification.
Okay, brilliant, thanks. Kath Venning's got a question which is actually related to sport leaders, so I don't want to blur the lines and confuse anybody, Kath, so we'll answer that offline if that's okay with you in terms of that question. Then somebody has got something about, is the resilience model currently available on your website, part of the I Can I Am, and can it be completed as a standalone? In terms of that raising resilience model is just available to people who are already working with us. It is a standalone module. yes, in many ways it does reflect on this programme and would fit very nicely with it, but it is a completely separate thing to this programme. So this is really sort of taking it the next step further. Is there anything further on that, Lucy, that you think we would need to say?
No, I think you've covered everything on that.
No. Okay, and then the next question is, you mentioned the I Can I Am course is an accredited course. Does this contribute to any qualification points for the QCF, contributing to GCSE and A-level points? No, it is accredited, but it is not on the QCF framework, so it doesn't count towards any kind of points or anything like that. So it is just accredited by us as an awarding body. And then the next one is there one certificate for the course or certificates for each unit? Do you want to clarify that, Lucy, in terms of...
Yeah, absolutely. So once a learner has completed a challenge, so one of the sessions, they will be congratulated that they have achieved, recognise a skill that they have developed in that part. Once they get to the end of it, they will be able to get a certificate that recognises the badges that they've achieved, or it will be a certificate to say that they have completed the whole course. That is actually being finalised at the moment. As you can tell, this is something that has happened very quickly over the last 2-3 weeks, so we'll be very clear in the tutor guidance.
Okay, thanks. And then the next question is there any form of external verification, or is it all assessed internally?
Yeah, completely assessed internally.
Yeah, so hopefully there's that. And how does the community building hours work within current social distancing measures?
Absolutely, it's something that we're really aware of, and that's why we've made the hours something after they can have could achieve the award. So it would get a further recognition if they do complete it. We're thinking that this is something that they might be able to do virtually. So this is something that they could do an activity, a Zoom activity, or they could get a group of individuals together to do a cook-off or something like that. However, if it's not done virtually, once we return to schools, obviously social distancing will come first, and whatever they deliver will need to abide by whatever rules are put in place at that point in time.
Okay, thanks, Lucy. And the next one is, would some of the criteria be transferable to higher sports leaders in the future?
Repeat that one again, sorry.
Would some of the criteria be transferable to higher sports leaders in the future?
So the skills that yeah, absolutely. So all the skills that they will be learning through this, if there's any other awards or qualifications you do with ourselves, they would be able to transfer the skills they've got and build on those to gain the qualification or award in the future. I think I've answered that right.
Yeah, thanks. And it says, how do they provide evidence of their activities, e.g. they do a Zoom meeting for communication in week 1? So how do they actually provide the evidence of that?
So it's more about reflection. So the evidence that's being required is them to reflect on the skills that they've developed and that they've built, and from that they then reflect on how they could use it in the future. So it really is about them understanding the skills and giving them confidence and resilience to move forward.
Okay, sorry, sorry, this is quite a long one. So could the community building be bolted onto existing social action, etc., once social distancing stops, or should something brand new be used, so to speak?
Absolutely not. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, so please go ahead and add this onto any other courses that you are delivering. So, for example, if you're doing one of our sports leadership, it could be that it has a sport theme to it when they come back. If you're doing a Duke of Edinburgh, it could be that it's around there. This is something that should build on the skills that they're actually building through other curriculums. This is something really to get them prepared to go forward in the future and actually get more skills so that they can thrive.
Okay, that seems to be all of the questions. We will still be here for a little bit longer. So if you do have another question, please do feel free to type that in. But it looks like we've covered most of those now. Thank you very much for listening. I do hope you found it useful. I do hope you've downloaded the slides and handout. Please don't forget at the end of the session to go to the file section at the top and to complete the questionnaire. It would be really useful for us to have that information, and it also gives you the opportunity to request anything from us. So please do fill that in, and hope you have a pleasant evening, and hopefully I will hear from you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry about the technical issues at the start.